The other position, Scott, that some folks may not think that the Bengals need, but is kind of there's some other things out there. Marvin Lewis recently made it known at the owners' meetings that he wants to kind of really reestablish the run game. Obviously, that takes offensive linemen and effective offensive linemen to do that. They lost kind of their quote-unquote thumper back in Jeremy Hill, term a little loosely. And so now it's kind of up to Joe Mixon and Giovani Bernard, okay? And it should be. Those are two very talented guys. Joe Mixon showed some great things last year. He showed some things last year. Gio has been a great multidimensional back. The problem is Joe Mixon got hurt last year. Giovani Bernard has been hurt at times in his career. Now I think Cedric Pierman is also a free agent, a guy that's been a special. Is running back a spot that the Bengals might need to look at, not in the first round, maybe not even in the second round, but maybe third round, fourth round?
Well, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head a little bit ago when you mentioned the 11 picks. They just have way too many picks. And we saw that last year where the picks were, they drafted all these guys and then, they let the Jake Elliott's, J.J. Dielmans, the et cetera, they released them, our team scooped them up because they had no spot for them. They had more players and then they brought more young rookies into camp than that they could physically, fit on a roster, especially when they got down to cut down day. When they had to get down to that 53 and Marvin loves his veterans, you knew of all these guys they drafted, there's only a small number they're actually going to keep, which means most of your picks are essentially wasted. I mean, they ended up being glorified camp bodies that got fans excited because they were young and good. But at the end of the day, they were, we got some in the back on practice squad, whatever, but not all of them. That being said, you're entering this year with 11 picks. You know that, come September 1st, whenever cut down day is, 6 months from now, they're not going to have all 11 picks on the roster. They're just like last year, you may have 5 or 6 make the team. So instead of using those other 5 picks on something kind of silly, like players that they're not going to, that have no chance of making this roster because it's a 10th wide receiver or a 5th running back or a 4th, why not, package some of them, move up. And even if they don't want to move up from 21, move up those second round picks, third round picks, pick at 40 instead of 50, pick at, 50 instead of 70. Do those kind of things. If there's that guy you see there, and not the Marcus Hunt types, but, a guy who's good. If you see a guy that you actually think is a good player, move up. I mean, they did that with Russell Bodine. Obviously, it failed because he wasn't a good prospect, but they still were willing to move up. And that's the thing is that, I think you have to turn those picks, like you just can't hold your picks for the sake of holding them and letting the guys go 6 months from now. You have to, I think you should get better value for those picks by getting better quality players on your roster by ensuring you're getting those guys you want to get. So that being said, you look at something like running back. I think we'd probably both be in agreement. Most Bengals fans would be in agreement. The guys who are going to get, 95% of the snaps are already on the roster, and they're pretty good. Joe Mixon, I think, with any sort of blocking, is a great player. With god-awful blocking like last year, is a decent player. He is able to make people miss. There's very exciting things he can do. Ever since I did the scouting report for him last year, I've just been excited about this guy possibly being a Bengal. And when he became a Bengal, I've been, big fan of his. That being said, you're only one injury away from losing him. And then your backup, as you mentioned, is Giovani Bernard, who also has his own injury histories. They're very similar as far as like the size. Neither one's like a big thumper. And you look at our fullback, it's, Ryan Hewitt, who's more of an H-back type. We don't have that, that Chris Presley, that John Connor, that guy that Jeremy Hill kind of was, that 235 plus guy that, you're at 4th and 1, a couple inches away, like, in the Super Bowl back in 1988 or whatever, and you need those 2-3 inches to get that touch. You don't have that guy that you can say, this guy's absolutely going to do it. We have a pair of very elusive, shifty guys that are going to make you miss in space and look silly, but you need to push that 340-pound. The other team has Vita Vea at 345-pound defensive lineman. He just bowled over, T.J. Johnson or whoever we're having pretending to play center. And your running back needs to, push his butt out of the way and get in the end zone. I don't think that's Mixon or Giovani Bernard's forte. And I'm not quite sure that's even Hewitt's forte. And okay, Dalton might be able to lean. He'll get pushed back because the centers and the guards are going to get blown up. That 4th and 1, you need that guy. He's not going to get a lot of snaps. He's not going to be a guy you use in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd round with your draft picks. But I would say somewhere in the draft, if they draft a guy at running back, that's probably the one position they're definitely lacking, is that random usage, that John Kuhn kind of guy that they had in Green Bay, that you're just a bit, that's Kuhn. You're going to, yeah, and you're going to have all the fans chant, because when he comes out there on that play, that is the only thing he's doing. The defense knows it. The offense knows it. He's going to average 1.1 yards a carry or whatever it is. But when you need that, those 6 inches or whatever, get that first or get that touchdown, that's the guy you're giving it to. With the way the Bengals roster is set up now with their linemen and the running backs, that 4th and 1 is going to be a pitch to the outside. You hope the defense doesn't read it, and you hope the linebacker doesn't, sprint through that gap and tackle you 4 yards in the backfield. And you want to be able to, to push that pile with that big guy. And that's the guy they don't have. I don't think they need a 3rd down back, the elusive, the scat, but the guys that are the higher athletic, because you have that. You have 2 very good ones that are both 2nd round picks. They've both proven they are solid players, and with any sort of blocking can probably be great players. So if anything, I think it's that or the special teams guy. And the special teams guy, I think they can probably grab from any position.
Yeah, I mean, the only way they get another guy in the mold of like a Gio Bernard is if it's a guy they have on their board in their 3rd round. They've already taken care of guard, center, linebacker, defensive tackle, and all of a sudden you're sitting in the 5th round, kind of like a quick Christian Westerman thing, and all of a sudden this guy like, oh gosh, this 2nd round talent is sitting in our lap. We've taken care of a lot of needs already. Let's just grab this guy. Why not? But I agree, and I don't think, again, I'm not advocating the Bengals spend yet another 2nd round pick on running back, but I think they do need some sort of viable option behind those guys. Joe Mixon, 1 year, he missed a couple. Giovani Bernard, injury history, and they want to pound the rock. Marvin Lewis said so. And, to Michael Myers' point in the live YouTube chat, fixing this line makes me excited to see Mixon play. I think Mixon can do it all. I think he can be a pounder. I think he can be an elusive guy. But I also think that he was, he suffered at the hands of poor blocking last year and poor usage of the fullback. And maybe he's not even a guy who uses a fullback. Maybe he's more of a spread offense next to the quarterback, that type of thing. By the way, this is a great comment by Dean Burke. The Bengals don't have too many draft picks. They just can't figure out who the right guys to cut are. I absolutely love that comment because it is spot on. Even though Dean wins the Devil's Advocate of the Night award, that's a great comment, and that has been the Achilles heel of the Bengals in terms of winning a play in the last couple of years. But great comment there by Dean. What do you think about the safety and running back positions? You can get in touch with us and let us know. We're on iTunes. We're on SoundCloud. We're on YouTube. All of our content is on cincyjungle.com. And you can get in touch with the show on Twitter at BengalsOBI and OBinsider@gmail.com. Go ahead, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you haven't, I think we had like 9 or 10 subscribers just over the last couple of days, which was awesome. Leave us a rating in the iTunes channel there if you can, and we appreciate all the support. It's pretty cool here, and talk about the Bengals, and you guys actually care about what we have to say. It's pretty cool. Makes me feel smarter than I actually am, Scott. I don't know about you.